Woman Spears, for sure.
Excuse me. Did you see There's free water upstairs.
I hear Adriana's walking.
I brought some tissues in case it was emotional.
Test 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2. Good evening, I am Hornky and welcome to my world. There's some free water upstairs. Now it's 21. I hear Adriana is walking and I brought some tissues in case it gets emotional. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing fabulous and doing good. Let me tell you something. That absolute vodka last night. It ain't no damn Moet Chandon. It ain't no Dom P. And it ain't no Veuve Clicquot. Okay, it had me tore the F up last night. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen. I won't be before you long. Today we got a little taste of spring up in here in New York City. Which only means I need to stop taking my allergy medication because the pollen, I could smell the trees and the pollen outside. Anyway, let's get to this confession today. The confession tonight goes, I've been lying to my coworkers about my salary. They don't know I'm the highest paid on my team. Okay, now it's 21. Hopefully this is going to put a light in you, Naris 21, and make you get right so that tomorrow or the following day, whenever you report back to your working place, you go to every coworker and you whisper into their ear the truth about your payroll. Hello, Love Blake. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. All right, it goes like this. About 6 months ago, I was looking to leave my job and managed to get a job offer. I went to go put in my resignation and surprisingly, my company offered me 20% raise to stay. I know that this makes me the highest paid on my team by a good margin because we've always been open with each other about our salaries. Okay, they've been water cooling about and doing the no-nos and the don't-dos because you're not supposed to be conversating with your coworkers about the pay structure. That is a big no-no. But let's continue. She goes on to say, however, comma, when I got this raise, I became worried that my coworkers might resent me. So whenever we talk about our salary for the last 6 months, I've been lying to them. I hate when people don't know how to write. They need to take that salary raise away from you because you cannot put together the sentence. Let me clean up her sentence. I've been lying and telling them I still make my old amount. Okay? All right. This is her confession. She has an edit. She goes, if I thought me telling my coworkers will help them argue for a higher raise, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I know that many of them have within the past year asked for smaller raises than mine and had it denied. Now let's hear what people are saying here. People are saying in the chat, in the post, they're replying to the confession. Somebody says, I'm always for employees sharing their salary. It only helps your coworkers know what they can't get from management. Somebody else says, I don't blame you because if they knew, it would only cause problems. Somebody else says, it's understandable to feel awkward when a raise changes the dynamic with coworkers. Somebody else says, It's usually HR that encounters keeping your salary confidential as it'll be their headache to deal with. Love Blake says, let me tell my husband about this money. I'm good for $150 raise. Somebody says, I've had this circumstance come up a few times in my working career. Time eventually proved it not to be true in every case. In many cases, other employees still were making more than me for various unfair reasons. I learned not to trust the HR managers, the payroll managers, when they said, doing you a solid here with this big raise. Please keep this to yourself. I found in most cases it just wasn't true. In my honest opinion, it's better to side with, to trust, to confide in your coworkers as opposed to trusting and confiding in your HR or payroll manager who is looking out for the company and not so much for your or the others. For you or the others, and who are in the unique position to be able to manipulate incomes and what people know and don't know. Just my experience. Okay, well, let me tell you my experience as somebody who's been on both sides of the table and have had to deal with this, in all angles. Both I've been an employee who, have hit my ceiling, and there was no more shaking the tree and making it come down. So what did I do? It's time for me to depart. It's just like that. It's time for me to depart. My husband, the Incredible Hulk, states, you shouldn't trust anyone at work. And why are you telling your business? Exactly. I come from the world of salaries are not to be discussed. Recently, I think within the last 2-3 years, New York City passed a law that now what they do is in the job postings, it has to list a salary. It's no longer commensurate with experience or compensated based on experience or when they used to tell you send in your cover letter, your application with your salary requirements, or the one that I particularly hated the most was when they wanted to know your salary history. Get the fuck out of my face. What do you mean give you my salary history? Are you insane? I'm not giving you my motherfucking How does that affect what you have budgeted for this position? It does not. It does not. It just gives you this perspective of this is what he'll take. Drop a bomb on that. My husband, the Incredible Hulk, states, I'm always broke. Don't ask me anything because I'm a lie and say I make minimum wage. So I come from that world of employees should not be discussing compensation. They just shouldn't. It just creates different type of morale. People feel like they should get more. People who've been, what I'm saying? And so that's from the employee point of view. From a manager's point of view, as somebody who has had to put together budgets and had to participate in assessing somebody as to how much of a raise they will get. Well, first of all, I think that the biggest raise that you can get, your biggest push should be when you first go ahead and when you first go on and get the job. Okay, don't go for a job that it's not paying you what you comfortably want at the beginning. You understand what I'm saying? And during the negotiation process, that's when you're supposed to be able to get what you need to get. All right. And so, sometimes people go into a job and always use a range. Always use a range when you're in your interviews and it's time to talk about the money and shit. Use a range. Ask them, when they're like, what salary are you looking for? Well, what has the position been budgeted for? You understand? And then the company is going to say, oh, it's been budgeted for between this and that. And so if you feel like you got the skills and the training and the expertise to get the higher number, then you shoot for the higher number. If you know that this is something that you're surprised that they even called you in and all of that, then you land at the middle number. And that's how you guys negotiate. I think employees forget. Now I'm talking from an employer point of view. Employees forget that it's not just your pay. It's not just the pay that you're getting. It's not just that. We look at you as a whole package. So your health insurance, the vacation days, your sick days, your personal time, the little bonus that they're going to give you at the end of the year, for Christmas or the holidays, if there's any type of specific training that you might be eligible to take, like where they'll send you out for a week to get certified or to take this new skill or this new computer system, and they're paying out for, that's all part of like what makes you and what makes you in the budget. You understand? So let's say somebody gets, let's do small numbers. Somebody gets a $50,000 job. Okay. All right. So they're getting a $50,000 job. They have a total of 5 sick days paid. Okay. 5 sick days paid, 4 weeks vacation, 4 weeks vacation. Okay. So you see how the package is being built. On top of that, this is one of the rare job places that is actually going to pay for your health insurance completely. You're only responsible for your co-pays when you go to the doctor. So there's not going to be a deduction from your paycheck. They're covering 100% your medical plan. That is easily another $16,000 to $20,000 that the company is shedding out for you. So now we went from 50 to what, 70? That's how much it's looking like. You're looking like in the budget at the end of the day for them, right? And then you throw in, they have a nice 401k program in which they're going to match you up to, let's say, $100, up to $100 a paycheck, right? And then let's say that this is a job that you get paid, weekly, right? So weekly you get your paycheck. Weekly they're gonna put $100 into your 401k, up to $100. They're gonna match you. So if you decide to put $100, they're gonna put up $100. So it's $200 going into your 401k every week, right? So that's a total of $5,200 that they're putting in for you. So now it's not only 70, now it's $75,200 is what you are looking like in the budget. Now take into consideration, okay, you landed at 50. The job was, let's say that on the higher end, they were budgeting 50 to 75. Well, how come I didn't get 75? But the job required that you had certain credentials, for your degree preferred, we'll take an associate's, prefer a bilingual person. Maybe you're not bilingual, a 5 years experience in this field. Maybe you only have 2. So that got you at 50. So, people need to keep that into consideration. It's not just what you're taking home. It's what makes your whole package. And this is why it's important when you are applying for jobs that you're not, I get it. Sometimes it's just what it is. You just got to send to whatever, but that you're really being selective and really understanding what you're getting yourself into when you are given an offer, that you take your time. I'm not saying a week, but I'm not saying don't take it in 25 minutes and call them back. Oh, I'll take it, and show the desperation. Even if you're desperate, if they call you Friday, tell them, oh, I'll take the weekend to think about it, and then I'll give you guys a call at noon on Monday with my decision. That's it. Even though you need this money, I need this money, Savannah. Okay? Even though you know that, still, don't look desperate. Don't look desperate. You also want to ask them, because your biggest money grab is going to be at your initial offer, and then so that you don't have to be set up in this situation where you have to go begging at the scraps at the edge of the table every so often. Ask them, what is the raise, the compensation increase structure here? Do you guys do an annual? There's jobs. I've been at jobs where automatically at the beginning of the year, everybody had a percentage as a raise, and that's it. That was it. If there was some extraordinary thing that happened throughout the year and they want to give you a larger raise based on merit, they want to throw just a $10,000, 15, 20, just on merit because maybe you took on more responsibility or you finish your schooling, for example, or certification, and now you have more credentials and they want to retain you, then they'll throw a little more. But I think the best situation where it doesn't create conflict for anybody involved is just when you have that automatic at the beginning of the year. Regular staff gets like a 3.5%. And if you're a manager, you get maybe like a 5%. And then if you're a director, you get a discretionary raise from management, from the VPs and stuff like that. This is why it's important to communicate. Once you get that offer, you went through the hardest parts, which was the interviews and the hoops and jump all the hoops and all that, but once you get that offer, it's very important that you sit with the HR manager, the hiring managers, and you really discuss these questions so that you're not getting hired in a place when you don't know how they do raises over here. How much you got. And it's also not professional to be going around the circle asking how much you're making. This is how I'm making. That it just creates, humans are humans. Jealousy is there. Enviness is there. You never know who's smiling in your face, and it just praying, wishing, and hoping and wanting that you are out of it. Like New York said, you upstairs, you are caught up in some motherfucking shit. Okay? You are out of it. And they want you out of it because you being out of it secures them even more. All right. It secures their job even more. I've seen all of this. I have worked for, places that have had a staff of 7, me included, to 800. All right. So I've seen, and it's all types of walk of life people with all sorts of issues and dramas and psychoses and unmedicated or highly medicated, coming to work all drugged up. And you have to deal with this bullshit over here. You understand? So it's best if you get yourself in a situation, and I tell you, every year we get this, there's a cost of living increase of 3.5 or whatever. What that means is 3.5 of your salary. You times that, and that's how much you're going to get. And you'll be surprised every year that's not a bad thing. A 3.5 raise every year. Slowly, before you know it, 3 years in, 4 years in, you are getting up there. Drop a bomb on that. You are getting up there. And one final thing I want to say before I let you guys go. We've been on here already for 20 minutes. I'll talk a little bit about some changes. There's some look at me, I am changing. There's gonna be some changes coming up in here. Okay, but before I get into the changes, one more thing that I was going to say about the job market and the whole thing is that, like I said, it's important to keep to know that ahead of time. But it's also important for you to know that you cannot measure your skill level, your compensation given somebody else. You just don't. You can't. You don't know what's been done, said, experienced behind closed doors. You don't know what's on those people's files. You don't know why the company chose this way. People are not privy to that information. You understand? So, it's different skill level, different things that they bring to the table, different, all of that. And then you get the folks that are protected classes that bring other things, so that by law, certain things have to happen for them. So it's best if you just focus on yourself. This going around asking, and I do believe that there are times, for example, if you go and you get yourself a certification, or you finish a higher degree. Let's say you completed a master's program while you were at this specific job or whatever, and they may not be aware. They may not be aware. Bring it up to HR. Yeah, I now have a master's. I now have this certification. I now have this license, and it ties right into the work that I'm doing. Or, will be able to step up in a more of a leadership role. I can probably supervise now. Like, this is something you start the conversation in good faith. But understand that if they turn around and be like, yeah, no, we can't do it right now. If you are not happy with the job that you have and the money that you're bringing in and the tasks that you decided to leave, you're already looking and stuff like that, and you're getting an offer, and you have an offer, and you're going to bring it back to your current place to see if they match it, or do you? No. As an employer, I was always taught, when they say they're ready to go, let them go. When they are ready to go, let them go. Throwing a little bit more money at them, asking them to, okay, if you want to keep me, give me some more money, with nothing else changing for the same role, for the same task. It's not like you got a promotion in terms of like you're now handling this and this is off your plate. Now you're doing this differently. You're managing people. Unless that's happening, and you want to go, it's time for it. You have to go. You have to let them go. Because what's going to happen is that money is only going to last but for so long. That feeling of that money is only going to last but for so long. And that desire to leave, to be wandering around the boards looking for a different job, is going to come back. And my experience has been that when companies have thrown money at people to stay, within 2 years, that person has still left. I also believe that in the workforce, every 5 years, you should evaluate what you're doing. You should evaluate, this is something that you want to continue to do. Should you approach management and ask them for more responsibility, a different role, something else? Or should you just start looking and be out for something high, something different, something more experience, and go on to a different place? I know it sounds like, well, then you're job hopping every 5 years. But if you're job hopping every 5 years the right way, it could really open up doors. It could really change your life financially. Okay? And then your resume will tell the story of you being a high achiever that come in, fulfill whatever is needed, and then goes on to bigger and better. And then eventually you might end up at like a director role where you stay there for your 10, 15 years, 20 years and retire from there. But it gives you a lot more expertise, especially in the environment of like the job environment that there is now, ever since COVID and the whole nine, and now with what's going on. It gives you more of an edge. Anyway, that is my little rant on that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have decided that I am switching around the studio in the next couple of weeks. We're doing that. We're also getting the house ready for spring, and I'm also getting ready for our vacation. Okay. So what does that mean? Absolutely nothing. It means more work for us over here, but more than likely you will continue to see this work of art. That's an actual picture, Naris 21, and you're mad about it. That is me. Okay, I was sitting at a bus stop. And I click. I just did a photo shoot, and then I became an oil painting, and you mad about it. I'm still going to be coming through live every single night. But because I'm taking down lights and setting up different setup and all that, it's going to be reduced, the amount of times where you see me live in the flesh. I am trying to get back into the Legoing. The Legos, I have so many Legos that I have to repair, plus the new box that came in. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff. So you may see me live in the flesh as I board a ship. Okay. To be quite honest. You may just be graced with a voice, but we'll see. We'll see what it is. Maybe we'll get it together way before then. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good Saturday. We will see you guys tomorrow again for more confessions. This is their confessions. All right. Be safe. Please hit the like button, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Have a good night. Peace.